There is a difference from being lost and then just being disconnected from who you really are. We're not behind most of the time. We're honestly just exhausted from trying to figure out who we want to be and the steps and the actions we need to take to become that person. And a lot of the times the reason why we feel like we have to hustle and grind is simply just due to the lack of the value that we thought we didn't have. And the best things in this life, they're not things that we can actually see, feel, and touch. Believe it or not, they're the things that are unseen, such as grace, such as mercy, such as love, but most importantly, value. We think that because we want to grow, or we think that to grow, we have to constantly be moving, we have to constantly be striving, we have to constantly be putting ourselves out there to just take more and more and more knowledge and more experience. And to some degree, that works when you're constantly hustling, but we do it from a standpoint as something that we don't notice what we have inside of us. And women, especially females, we are naturally inherently born with value, and that's something that I absolutely love and something that I wish I knew that I had younger. My entire life I've spent my days, my years just chasing of what's next, chasing good grades, chasing validation, chasing all these things that I thought I needed to be secure and content with who I am, but in reality, I just didn't see the value I already had and I already possessed. Believe it or not, a lot of people still don't see it. A lot of people look in the mirror and they say, oh my gosh, I'm not enough, or this circumstance has defined who I am. And that's why it's so important to have pillars in your life to understand that who you are not defined by your circumstances. Your identity does not come from what's around you. Yeah, our environment shapes us, but to actually know who we are, that's the worth and the value that we hold as individuals. And like I said, women, we already have value, and we feel like we have to be this perfect face, and we feel like we have to do all these extravagant things just to be seen. We feel like we have to put on makeup, and sometimes it's nice to put on makeup, don't get me wrong, but we don't have to keep putting ourselves out there hoping to hook, line, and sinker either a partner or a business opportunity or a job. We don't have to keep chasing that. That's something that's already divinely given to us. And as the internet probably already talks about each and every single day, you just have to step into that power. You have to step into that identity, into knowing who you are, into knowing your value. That's the one thing that's going to really shape your character, that's going to mold how you see the world. That's the perspective that you start to have with the world around you, because you're learning your value, and you're going to constantly learn it as you go. It's not always about the hustle culture. It's not always about trying to grind, go, go, go. We can't do that. I know, me especially, I need my beauty sleep. That's something I will never ever get rid of. It's something I always prioritize. But you don't need to suppress your value as a person just for value that you think you need from others. You attach your value to how productive you are. You attach your value to how useful you seem, or how many people stand up and clap for you. Sorry to say this, but here's the truth that nobody likes to say out loud. You can't outwork and hustle yourself into that growth. You can't move forward and try to force yourself into that position if deep down you secretly don't believe that's what you deserve, and deep down you secretly don't believe that's who you are. That's why when a lot of people talk about like manifestations and things like that, I completely agree with it. I love it. Like, I love thinking that this is going to happen in the future. I'm getting glimpses and I'm seeing exactly what I'm going to be capable of, what I'm going to be doing. But the problem is, when a lot of us look at that future, we think like, oh my gosh, it's so far away, because we secretly don't believe it. We don't believe that we deserve it, especially when we look at our circumstances right now. I'm sorry to say this, but the universe and God, they're not on a budget. There's so much abundance out there. There's so much for you to learn. There's so much for you to grow into and experience. But we believe that based on our circumstances and based on our environment and what we see in our reality, we believe that that's what's going to be here, basically, for the rest of our lives. We fear it's never going to change, and why a lot of us are actually scared to do the things that we want and scared to see the value. Like in my last video, I talked a lot on we wait to give ourselves permission. Like, we don't look for permission from others, we look for that within ourselves. But the reason why is because we're not noticing the value within. We're not noticing what we are capable of. And that's why a lot of it is so scary, and that's why a lot of us think, oh my gosh, manifestation, it's just BS, it's woo-woo, it's nothing true. Well, it's because you don't believe it for yourself. You don't adopt that principle in your life. You don't adopt that into your heart. And it's not something you can even wrap your mind around. It's something that is completely out of the ordinary. It's something that's completely gone and the forbidden fruit, I guess you could call it. I don't really know, but it's something that we don't believe exists because we can't see it. Like I said, the best things in life are the things you can't see, because those are the key factors in actually changing your life. Having that peace within, having those morals in your heart, having those modalities in your life, that's what's going to shape your future. And that's the beautiful part of it, because at any given point you can just decide for yourself, like, oh my gosh, it clicks, I understand it, I know grace, I have grace in my life, I'm giving myself peace, I'm giving myself mercy when I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm giving myself that time. I'm giving myself that breathing room. And a lot of people don't give themselves room to breathe. They don't give themselves a time to take a step back and really look at their life and say, you know, it's okay that I messed up here. I learned from it. Let me move on. Instead, they're like, oh my gosh, I need to punish myself. I need to find out a way to fix this because I did so wrong here. I have to do better this time. It's not that serious. Life is not that serious, and that's what a lot of people frustrate themselves on, because they believe that their value, again, is filled through either external circumstances, what mask they put on that day, or really how they perceive themselves to the world and how they portray a character. And it's not authentic, it's not genuine, and that's honestly not how you should be living your life, because there's so many people out there. It's 1 in a million, 1 in a billion. So if you're not truly yourself, you're becoming like the rest. Who wants to be like everybody else? You were literally born to be yourself. That's why you're here. That's why you're on this earth. Act like it. Real growth does not start with a to-do list. It starts when you stop performing and you start respecting the version of yourself that's here right now. Because in this moment, in the present, be where your feet are. Be present, understand, cherish, appreciate the moment. When you start respecting who you are today, not who you are in 10 years, then you can actually become the version of yourself that you want to be in that 10 years when you start appreciating yourself and giving the respect that you deserve now. And a lot of people don't do that. They waste their days. They forget about it. They feel like eventually they'll become that person. Well, you can't do that if you don't have the self-respect that you need right now. So look at yourself in the mirror. Seriously, get up and go look at yourself in the mirror. Genuinely, can you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I respect the person that I see staring right back at me. I love the person that I see looking right at me, my own reflection. Can you do that? If you can't, I think there might be something deep down that we need to be solving. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing by any means. It's being able to take a step back and say, you know what? She's not perfect. Nobody's perfect, and nobody except Jesus. She's not perfect, but at least I know I love her. And even if I don't like what I see, I can make that decision to change it. I can be decisive right then and there, saying, I'm not that type of person that is a sloth. I'm not the type of person that's lazy. I'm not the type of person to binge watch Netflix when I know I probably should be editing a YouTube video. Things like that. Being able to really look at yourself and say, okay, every decision I make in this moment, that's what's going to shape who I am for my future. So what can I do better today that's going to make me a better person at the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the year? It's the compound interest effect. Like little by little over time equals success, and I will say that till the day I die, because that is so true. Especially in financing, especially in stocks, especially in investing. When you start getting your finances right, you start getting your money right, you're going to learn that compound interest is what's going to bring you from the bottom to the top. It's what's going to make you feel like you are absolutely not inferior to others, and you can actually take on the world because you're learning the literacy around everything. The same thing goes for your life. You're learning the literacy of how to respect and love yourself. You're learning the literacy of love for yourself. And I think that's a beautiful thing. The pressure to do more only exists when you think who you are is not enough. But when you build from a form of self-respect, you don't rush, you don't compete, you don't compare. You are in your own race, you are in your own lane. You're not worried about Susie down the street who's doing X, Y, and Z with her life. You're only worried about you. It's like you're living in your own world. Great quote I heard 3 or 4 years ago was from a friend I used to have at the time, and he said, my reality is not your reality. And that has stuck with me ever since, because it's so true. What I do with my life and the world that I live in my head and the one I actually formulate into my reality is not going to be what my friends think, is not going to be what my family thinks. It's not even going to be what my future husband thinks. Because I have that respect and that love for myself, I can hold that capacity of emotions for myself, and I can grow and step into that version that is formulating her own reality, that is constantly growing and evolving. And that's why self-respect and value is so important for your growth, because we naturally have it. You need to learn how to hold it. It's like we don't have 8 arms. We're not an octopus, unfortunately. But we can't hold 20 different things in one hand. We can't hold 40 different things in 2 hands. The same being said, you can't give yourself more if you can't even appreciate and love what you have now. You can't give yourself more in life if you can't look in the mirror and say, I love who I am and I love what I've become. I'm turning myself into the version that is respectful, that is worthy. I don't need to compete where I go. I don't need to worry about who's jealous of me. I don't need to be jealous of other people. They have things that I don't have. I'm so happy for them, but I don't have them, and nor do I want them. It's because I'm so content with not only the growing phase, but the journey that comes along with it. I'm so happy with where I'm at because I know I have so much farther to go. That's why everything in life is about the journey, and that's why you grow to understand your value. People aren't going to see that all the time. They're not going to notice it right off the rip. They're not going to know who you are. They're not going to know the love that you can give, how much you can care for them, nor do they really care. This is a world where everybody is full of themselves, which is why I think it's great to actually go out and serve people. It's great to get up and say, I will go. I will be the person that's going to make a difference. I will be the person that's going to clap for others even when no one's clapping for me. It's putting yourself to that form of servanthood. And I want to talk about that in another video, which is like the forms of leadership and then being able to be a servant, things like that. It's being able to say, I have value to give even if other people don't see it, because I know I have it. That's all that matters. I'm the only one who's going to be with myself here on out for the rest of my life. So I need to know my value, I need to know my worth, and I need to step into that to then give to others. When you stop begging, when you stop competing, and when you stop comparing, you will not beg to be chosen by somebody, because you will choose yourself first. Everybody else will come second to that, because you choose yourself first. When you do that, growth, it starts to feel different. You start to feel stronger. You start to feel happier. You start to feel calmer in life, more at peace with yourself, because you gave yourself that respect. You gave yourself that love because you're noticing your value and you're growing into your value. And now you know, it's just going to grow from here on out. You were never behind. You were just way too busy to trying to earn something that really wasn't there in the first place. You're allowed to start from ground zero. You're allowed to start from peace at the very beginning, even if you don't notice your value yet. Because like I said, that's the start of the journey, and that's where everything begins, and then you realize it's only going to increase your abundance from there. Well, if this hit you in the chest, then you probably know why. Anyway, love you. Bye.